This is iFIBER 1 News. Here are today's top stories.
Like the rest of the nation, students at nearly every high school across the north central Washington region walked out of class at around 10 a.m. to protest gun violence.
On Monday, the Othello School District's School Safety Forum drew dozens of teachers, students, staff, and concerned parents.
Students in the Commercial Pilot Training Program at Big Bend Community College will soon have 3 new aircraft to take to the sky.
For the second year in a row, Quincy opened the season by playing Greater Northern League powerhouse Cheney.
From the iFIBER 1 newsroom, this is iFIBER 1 News. And it starts now.
Enough is enough! Like the rest of the nation, students at nearly every high school across the north central Washington region walked out of class at around 10 a.m. to protest gun violence and support school safety 1 month after the fatal shooting in Parkland, Florida. Schools participating included Kashmir, Cascade, Eastmont, Wenatchee, Ephrata, Othello, and Moses Lake. While not all school administrations supported the walkouts, they did provide a safe place for students to assemble. After 17 minutes, some Wenatchee High School students moved to Memorial Park, where community members were encouraged to meet and rally with students. While Eastmont High School's walkout remained silent to show their seriousness about the situation, Wenatchee High School members marched into their rally at Memorial Park chanting, "Enough is enough." Chris Danko, a Wenatchee High School senior, was the first of 4 to speak at the Memorial Park rally.
I'm not going to change anyone's mind about gun control. Those who disagree with me will stop listening after the first few words, and everyone who agrees with me will keep on agreeing with me. If I argue one side, it will only distance us, and our goal should only be to bring each other together. Before a serious conversation about serious issues can happen in our society, we must overcome what is preventing us from having that conversation.
Other students, faculty, and community members came up to the microphone thanking those who came and encouraging them to not only march for what they believed in, but to also vote. At Moses Lake High School, student Angelica Mansfield was fired up about bullying and called for students to change their actions towards each other.
Kids shouldn't be shooting up schools. We're teenagers. You should say that you love your neighbor. You should be there for them. Sit with them at lunch. Tell them that you're their friend, that you're going to be there for them whenever they need you. Because just because they're already dealing with bullying at school enough, and they have their own problems at home, whether you know it or not, everybody does. And I don't see why it's so hard to be nice.
The next nationwide student-led walkout is planned for the anniversary of Columbine High School's shooting, April 20th. I'm Madison Meyer with iFIBER 1 News.
This segment is brought to you by
Maytag and the family Pooch have a lot in common. Both are loyal, both aim to please, and both are tenacious dish cleaners. But only one can sanitize. Maytag, what's inside matters.
Maytag Appliances, now available at more furniture in Ephrata. On Monday, the Othello School District's School Safety Forum drew dozens of teachers, students, staff, and concerned parents. The platform got the conversation going about what's being done to safeguard kids.
The one step that we haven't done that some schools have done is they're training the students to fight. We haven't gone there yet. That would be something that would have to come from parents in the district. What ages and would we want to train students to fight? Now, the barricade techniques, the run techniques, we're actually using Nerf guns. We're making it as real as possible so people can see what works and what doesn't work.
And what's needed to protect them.
But something that I heard from the Florida incident was that the students knew immediately that it was real because it was a code red. We haven't taught our students that. We don't have code this or code that. They wouldn't know. Literally every time we have a lockdown drill, we're told it's just a drill. So I think that that's something that needs to be addressed too.
The topic of arming teachers came up, a concept that was balked at by some, including students.
And it's not something a teacher should be responsible to do. Not just that, but the whole principle of a teacher being responsible for possibly having to take somebody's life, especially another student. I've had trigger time behind a gun stateside and overseas, and taking another person's life isn't something that just comes. You can't just do it.
On the stance of teachers having firearms here today, we would like to just say, as students, we do not feel comfortable with this. Having a teacher bring a gun into the school would just be, in our opinion, a bigger cause for an accident to happen. By allowing a gun into the school, we therefore open up the opportunity for either a student to sneak one in, or in a worst case, a student to steal a teacher's gun.
I'm Sean Goggins for iFIBER 1 News. This segment is brought to you by...
Your taste buds bored? Well, then bring them to Jay's Teriyaki. Not only does Jay's have a variety of teriyaki dishes, they also offer mouth-watering salads and sides. Call Jay's 509-764-5155. Jay's Teriyaki, located at 123 East Broadway in Moses Lake, because it's all in the sauce.
Students in the commercial pilot training program at Big Bend Community College will soon have 3 new aircraft to take to the sky. 2 new 4-seat Piper Archers sat in the hangar Wednesday morning, with a 3rd plane being delivered later this week.
Each plane costs about $350,000. They're paid for by the student lab fees. So the students, when they go fly, portion of their funds help to run the aircraft, but then also to replace the fleet. So we always say that yesterday's students will pay for today's fleet, and today's students will pay for tomorrow's. And so these aircraft will help to increase the systems trainings for the students, so that they'll be able to work with a system that's going to be much more similar to what they'll do when they get to the airline industry.
While instructors have flown the new plane, students will have to wait until FFA approval. Swedberg said he's hoping to have the aircraft ready to fly after spring break.
A lot of the old aircraft have the traditional gauges. We have to call them steam gauges, and so they have the little round dials. These aircraft have 2 screens inside, and then all of the systems are actually integrated actually under the seats, and then they actually send a signal up into those screens. The students then will have to learn how to operate that system as they're flying the aircraft at the same time. It's challenging, it's different, but it's going to be much more similar to what the students will see when they get into the industry, into the next airplane.
The college program, which currently has 88 students and 26 aircraft, along with 2 simulators and a 3rd simulator on the way, has been around since 1965, and Swedberg said Big Bend graduates are working for just about every airline. This is Joe Utter for iFIBER 1 News.
For the 2nd year in a row, Quincy opened the season by playing Greater Northern League powerhouse Cheney. Cheney took the GNL last year and made it a good portion through regionals. In the season opener between these 2 teams a year ago, Cheney rolled 10-0. Quincy was determined not to let that happen again. Quincy jumped up in the 1st inning to take a 2-run lead, which they held for most of the game. In the 5th, Cheney came to life and scored 5 runs to go up 5-2. Quincy responded with a run of its own also in the 5th to make the score 5-3. But that was the end of the line for Quincy, which saw Cheney score 2 more runs in the 7th to put the game away 7-3. While still a loss, it's a much better showing from Quincy than a season ago. Quincy made it to districts last year and will be looking to make a return trip this season. I'm Adam Chakosky for iFIBER 1 Sports.
This is iFIBER 1 News. For more information on these stories and other news, visit us online at iFiber1.com or check us out on Facebook.